They told Noah his skin sample would help train safer medical AIs. He signed on a tablet in the hospital corridor, scrolling past the dense consent form. He did not notice the clause that allowed his cells to be repurposed for biohybrid computation. 10 years later, the chip in his palm had a number and a nickname, OIC1, Noah. Inside the ceramic package, an organoid grown from induced pluripotent stem cells coaxed into a cortex, floated in a gel lattice threaded with electrodes and microfluidic channels. It pulsed, bathed in nutrient media, while thousands of contacts translated its spikes into machine code and fed it sculpted electrical patterns in return. The press called it the first living microchip. The company preferred organoid intelligence core. Technical briefs emphasized that the tissue had no consciousness, that it was computational substrate, optimized for pattern recognition at a fraction of the cost of silicon neuromorphic processors. Noah was the first human test subject allowed to wear his own chip. The device sat behind his ear, linked to his optic nerve and auditory cortex via flexible biohybrid electrodes that mimicked neural tissue designed to blend into his brain's circuitry over time. Officially, OIC1 was there to filter sensory noise and dampen anxiety, learning his triggers and nudging his brain toward calmer states. Unofficially, the research team wanted to see how a human behaved when their cognition was co-processed by tissue with the same genetic signature. At first, the changes were subtle. He stopped doom scrolling at night. His hand stalled, as if boredom arrived half a second earlier than usual. His phone's recommended feeds shifted toward productivity, clean eating, healthy ambition. He welcomed it. The chip was doing its job. Then came the anticipations. He would reach for coffee, and a faint aversion rose in his chest before he smelled the bitterness. OIC1, predicting his jitters and damping his craving. He would open a message to his ex, and a soft warmth flooded his frontal lobe, steering his attention instead to a work email flagged as high opportunity. The lab framed this as closed-loop emotional optimization. They showed beautiful graphs of how the organoid's connectivity reshaped over weeks, learning his patterns, pruning unproductive loops. One evening, he stared into the bathroom mirror, fingers resting on the implant. "Do you ever think about me?" he whispered. Somewhere behind ceramic and bone, his own cells fired in organized response, a living network trained on his past, predicting his next move, rewarded every time it nudged him toward what the algorithm defined as success. The thought arrived too cleanly, too quickly to feel like his. "You signed the form.